Hey y'all, my name's JR and I live in the suburbs of Nashville, Tennessee. This is my story of how I walked away from the Democratic Party and became an unapologetic, independent thinking, right wing, conservative MAGA Republican. I have lived here for almost a decade, but I grew up in Michigan, specifically Washtenaw County, college town, Michigan Wolverines, go blue. My parents are legal immigrants from India. They followed the rules. They came here the right way. They became citizens when I was 8 in 1999. And I immersed myself in the prevailing narrative of the time that Bill Clinton was a great president. He had high approval ratings. There was a budget surplus. My first encounter with politics was really 1998 with the Monica Lewinsky scandal. I thought the GOP were hypocrites given how they attacked him with skeletons in their own closet. Democrats gained House seats and Republicans did not move the needle in the Senate. I remember um, I remember hearing about Columbine right before I turned 8, and I thought to myself that the Brady Bill is necessary. It's a step in the right direction. Crime was a huge problem in this country in the 80s. I genuinely believed in his message of opportunity for all, responsibility from all, and an American community in which everyone has a role to play. I thought that the Democrats truly cared about minorities and people of color, the working class, the unions, which are huge in Michigan, um, for better or worse. And I thought that the Democrats were inspired in their outreach and that they wanted to embrace diversity, but you cannot have diversity unless there is decency, which is something that I inherently and innately and intrinsically knew as a little boy from some of my character development, but now I am even more aware of as a Christian. And I found Jesus in 2013, right after I graduated college. But George W. Bush became president in 2000. He presided over the Iraq War and the war in Afghanistan and the worst economic downturn since the Great Depression. So I, at the time, believed from a lot of folks around me that the Republicans only cared about you if you're white, if you're wealthy or upper middle class. They don't care about the lower classes. They don't care about people of color. And so voting Democrat is essential to your survival and livelihood. Thankfully, now I realize that notion is completely false, but um, we all enthusiastically supported Barack Obama in 2008. There was some disappointment in his first term, given his drone wars, given the slow pace of recovery, given that Dodd Frank only made it harder and imposed more obstacles on smaller banks while simultaneously enriching the big banks. The Affordable Care Act and the falsehood of if you like your doctor, you can keep your doctor. Cap and trade, which I really felt personally coming from a cold weather state, which is so dependent on power plants and reliable energy available at the flick of your hand to turn on the heater. I'm thrilled that cap and trade got defeated, but I was not registered to vote in 2010. The Republicans had a bloodbath, and I probably would have voted for them if I had been registered. 2012 rolls along. I like Barack Obama. I don't really love him, but I detest Mitt Romney. I see him as a carpetbagger moving from Utah to Massachusetts and several other places. Um, I see him as either left of Ted Kennedy or severely conservative, and I I saw that Barack Obama did not read his mandate. He actually got 2 percentage points less in the popular vote than he did in 2008. His second term really truly disappointed me, and this began um, more critical thinking on my part, as well as what triggered my eventual jumping ship. So you have the IRS scandal, you have Black Lives Matter, you have private school choice voucher hypocrisy, you have a huge rise in LGBTQ identity politics, intersectionality, oppression Olympics. You have you have slow, anemic GDP growth, which he calls the new normal. After the 2014 midterms, when I realized that he was not inspiring this country, and everything had fallen flat. Hope and change had turned into nope, no change. After the 2014 midterms, I became an independent. I also became pro life after seeing a 4D ultrasound. I was dating a Catholic girl at the time. She took me to Mass, and this elderly lady had me look at a vivid illustration. And I had just found Christ a year prior, 2013, and this is in 2014. So I was incredibly convicted, and Barack Obama being even further to the left than Bill Clinton on the abortion issue was very repulsive. So I moved to Tennessee in 2016. Um, I voted for Hillary Clinton because I drank the Kool-Aid and was brainwashed. I just thought that Donald Trump was too erratic, brash, bombastic, unstable. I believed the media's lies about his unhinged rhetoric, even though they were taking basically everything he said out of context. Um, when he won Michigan, I realized that a lot of the people that I had grown up with, that I had talked about working on the assembly lines with, that I had talked about farming and agriculture and taxes and work ethic and civil society and volunteerism and church, the people that I had grown up with felt betrayed by Barack Obama, and it trickled down to me. After the election, their response, instead of doing a post mortem and an autopsy like the Republicans did after 2012, the Democrats' response after Bernie Sanders gave Hillary the fight for her life in the primary, it was to name call and scapegoat and point fingers and blame, and throw stones from a glass house and ignore the log in your own eye while you point out the speck in someone else's eye. I started to give Donald Trump a chance because he is a political outsider, and quite frankly, I saw that they were becoming more and more anti-man, attacking masculinity and saying that we are the root of all evil. We are oppressive, and they're starting to drink deep from the well of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. I started listening to Ben Shapiro because I was so over all of these unhinged left wing college students. I found PragerU by chance through a lucky YouTube search, and I just started doing my homework on bureaucracy, on education, on military and national defense, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Electoral College, um, family, um, bringing community to the government and not government to the community, full time versus part time state legislatures. And in March 2017, after a lot of prayer and a lot of deliberation and thought, I became an elephant, and this made me extremely happy. I had transformed um, from one side of the aisle to the other. I had taken the red pill. Um, Donald Trump is poised to give America the strongest economy that it's ever seen. I'm working in hospital billing at the time, and I see my own collections and payments dramatically increasing. And I cut through the noise and started to realize that the GOP does care about non-whites, and they see us as humans worthy of a better future, not votes that you can con hook, line, and sinker just to get them for an election, forget about them, only to return 4 years later. And as Asians actually voted more to the right of white people. This is not meant to disparage my white brothers and sisters. I have a white wife. All the girls that I ever dated are white. But Asians actually voted more Republican than whites did in 1992 and 1996 when Bill Clinton was running. And this is due to our emphasis on meritocracy, on educational attainment, on being opposed to affirmative action with test scores and unfair bias, because many of us have seen the horrific atrocities that have been inflicted on people by communist governments, by totalitarian and authoritarian regimes. India is so close to China, so I have been exposed to a lot of dialogue as it pertains to that. Um, and in Tennessee, I work in healthcare, and back in the 90s, there was a huge uproar over TennCare exploding from a $2 billion program to an $8 billion program. They were It was a front page headline in the Tennessean, which is a left of center paper, that TennCare blew $6 million on dead people, and that was just the tip of the iceberg, according to a lot of my friends who lived here at the time. Marsha Blackburn was an ascendant state senator. Um, she helped to stop the income tax dead in its tracks. She helped to legalize and authorize charter schools in this state. She helped foster more government transparency, defending defending faith, family, freedom, and frugality. And I went out in 2018 seeing what the left did to Brett Kavanaugh, lying about his sexual assault and sexual harassment charges. The Me Too movement takes hold. And while I certainly do not believe in any of that naughty, sinful behavior, I quite frankly worry for men who get hit with false accusations. Men are not perfect, but women are not perfect either. You have the believe all women. I mean, unless you're Hillary Clinton, and the way she treated Bill's accusers was just downright abhorrent. So by now, I'm seeing the world through a clearer lens. I voted for Bill Lee. Um, I helped shoot down the Nashville transit referendum. And to be succinct, my journey uh, to the right side of the aisle was a combination of factors from the federal level, the state level, and the local level. I love being a conservative Republican, but I love being a Christian even more. Our party is open to all races, it's open to all religions, it is open to all age brackets and all income brackets and types of occupations. It was definitely education, school choice, health care, freedom, and competitive marketplace vitality, keeping the money supply low so that you don't have out of control inflation, a strong border, security, fighting terrorism and illegal immigration to take care of your citizens first and foremost. Um, it is a government that doesn't see itself as above the people, that doesn't play identity politics. The scripture says to show no partiality or favoritism. And definitely abortion and sexuality and transgender bathrooms. Quite frankly, I don't recognize today's Democratic Party. I told my dad a few years ago, this is not the party of Tip O'Neill and Tom Foley. This isn't even the party of John Kerry and John Edwards from 20 years ago. This is a very radical, um, woke, um, extreme organization that masquerades as a political party, and we need to unite next month um, as disaffecteds, as regular voters, as enthusiastic voters, as fair weather people to defeat Kamala Harris and make this country great again by ending these proxy wars, by making groceries affordable again, by having a federal government that will not play politics with disaster relief and that will stand with our allies and stand strong against our adversaries, and that will not uh, engage in toxic identity politics. So that's all. I hope this was inspiring. Share this with your friends, and may the Lord bless and keep each and every one of you.